It's Monday, the 4th of April 2011, and this is Photo Walkthrough episode number 164, a review of the Wacom Intuos 4 wireless tablet. So hello and welcome back to Photo Walkthrough. This is episode 164, and today I'm going to be taking a look at this beastie here. This is a Wacom Intuos 4 wireless tablet, and I've reviewed a lot of Wacom graphics tablets before. This is sort of the top of the line traditional Intuos tablet. The Intuos tablets are some of their Pro range tablets, and this is quite a large one. Now, those of you that have been watching me for a while will know that I tend to be a bit down on large graphics tablets. I tend to prefer the smaller ones. So this is going to be an interesting experiment to see how I get along with this one. But before we do that, let's just take a quick tour around the product and see some of the features on it. Of course, the most obvious and important one about this one is that this is a wireless tablet. There is a USB port here on the end, so you can connect it to your computer, and that's probably a good idea when you're setting it up and making these buttons do the things you want them to do. But for the most part, you can use this completely wireless, and I have noticed that the battery lasts a good long time. There is on the back here a battery compartment. The battery compartment contains a Wacom branded, I'll just take this cover off here and show you, a little Wacom branded replaceable battery there. So if you did use this a lot wireless and you found that you went through batteries, you could buy spares. I haven't actually found in my usage of this that the battery goes down all that quickly. It seems to last an awfully long time, and also because it's lithium ion, it doesn't really go flat when you leave it unused for a long time. So I mean, it's been a few weeks since I used this. I plugged it back in today and the battery was almost completely full. So battery life seems to be very good on here. They've also added here at this end of the device, and this device can be used both ways, I think. They've also added here at the end a range of express keys. That's the Wacom name for buttons. But as well as the buttons, they've also got next to them some little OLED displays. And those OLED displays can be configured to tell you what the buttons do, which is a jolly nice feature. And particularly if you're changing the function of these buttons, you can combine them with function keys, modifier keys. You can set the keystrokes to be fired when you press these. You can do even macros with multiple keystrokes and things. And you can actually say what you want the little OLED display to say next to that button. So if you're ever unsure which button you programmed for whichever feature, I personally like, for example, to program an undo button on the graphics tablet. I find that extremely useful. You can write next to the button what that button does. One of the other features that's ready programmed into the graphics tablet when you start, by the way, is this top button here will actually, when you press it, overlay on your screen a quick display showing you how all the buttons are programmed. So if you ever get stuck and think, oh no, I've got a button to do whatever it is, I can't remember which button it is, you press that top button and it shows you on the screen. So lots of nice little time-saving features. And as well as those 8 express keys, we've also got a little touch wheel here with a button in the middle. And that's quite a nice little feature. That's much like the scroll wheel on your mouse. You run your finger around it to make it sort of roll up and down or zoom or change brush size or whatever, and you press the middle button to change what feature your wheel is going to affect there. So that's a nice little feature. Again, it's programmable. It's got 4 possible modes, so you press the button in the middle and it toggles between the 4 modes, and you can see it shows you on the screen when you do that what you're toggling to. So if you want to have that be a zoom wheel, you can have it do that. If you want it to be a brush size wheel, you can do that. By default, there's also a mode for switching between layers in Photoshop, so you can have it do that. You can really configure this device a great deal, and you can make it work exactly the way you want. And of course, because it's one of Wacom's top-end pro-level graphics tablets, you get the pro drivers on your computer, which mean you can not only determine the functions of multiple different pens on your tablet, you can also have the device operate differently in various different programs. So you can have it do a different thing in Lightroom than it does in Photoshop, than it does in a Painter program. You can have it do all sorts of different things in different programs, and those buttons can actually change their functions in the programs, and likewise the pens. So that's the other thing I should mention. This is the standard Wacom Pen, which is a very comfortable, thick, chunky sort of pen, but with a very fine tip, so it feels very precise. They've been working on these for a very long time, so they really know how to make these pens feel good. But as well as just the pen as it comes like that, you can unscrew the tip here, and you can change the nib so that it has various different feels, and you'll find that when the graphics tablet comes with, this here is the little ink pot thing that it comes with, that the pen goes into, but if you take the top off the ink pot, you'll find it comes with a whole array of little nibs, and you can change the nibs on your pen so that it has a different feel. You can also buy different pen types. So you've got a pen that feels a bit like an airbrush, and various other different shapes and sizes of brush. You can have them all working with your graphics tablet. You can have them all behaving slightly differently if you want through that driver. So if you're into natural media work, if you're doing painting or drawing, if you're used to the feel of a pencil, you can change the tip so that it feels like a pencil. If you want to change the tip so it has a bit more of a rubbery feel, maybe like a felt tip or a marker, you've got tips that feel that way too. If you're used to working with an airbrush, you've got a pen that you can buy that will feel like an airbrush as well, complete with a little scroll wheel on the top so that you can change the flow rate. So an extremely configurable solution if you are into the natural media type stuff and you're used to working with pens or brushes or whatever, and you want to emulate that on the computer. You can do all of that with the Wacom tablet. Okay, before we carry on with our review, let's just take a moment to say thank you to Angie's List, who are a regular show sponsor for Photo Walkthrough. Angie's List are where you need to go if you've got something that needs doing to your house or your car, or maybe you need a healthcare professional in your area and you don't know who's any good. That's what Angie's List is all about. They've got hundreds of reviews of people in your area, reviewed by people in your area that have actually used them. They can tell you how good these guys really were. And if anything does go wrong, Angie's List have got a complaints resolution service to help you sort the problem out. As a Photo Walkthrough viewer, you can get a 25% discount. That's a huge discount. Most of these discounts are like 10 or 15%. 25% discount you can get with Angie's List by using the promo code PHOTO when you go to their site and sign up. Thank you very much to Angie's List for supporting Photo Walkthrough. We couldn't do it without you. So, bringing this back to what we do, which is photography. How does it work for photography? Well, as I've said, I tend to be a bit down on large tablets. I have found with my photography work that I don't use the tablet all the time. What I tend to do is use the mouse when it's the best device, and I use the tablet when it's the best device. And so, for example, if you're doing a bit of dodging and burning on a photograph, you really want to have very precise control over where in the photograph you're going to paint those dodges and burns in. You want to have pressure sensitive control, and of course, being a high-end graphics tablet, this has got a large number of pressure sensitivities. I think it's 1024 pressure levels, but that's way more than you need. And you can, with photo work, you can very finely control how dark an edit you make and where exactly that edit goes. And that's where I think the graphics tablet is incredibly useful for photography work. It's when you start being a bit more creative with the way you build those pictures up and where you start moving the light around. Now, I do use a graphics tablet for that work all the time. I find that the Wacom tablets are the best. I've tried loads of different tablets, and I don't get paid by Wacom. This is not an ad. This is a review. I've never found anything that came close to the quality of any of the Wacom tablets. I think the biggest problem I had was, because it's not something I use all the time, it's something that tends to sort of get in the way on the desk, which is why I've tended to prefer the smaller ones, because there's much more chance that you're going to have them on your desk when you need to use them, rather than having got annoyed with them because you haven't used it for a week or so, and you've taken it off and thrown it on the desk over the other side of the room, and then it's not available to use when you do want it. So how does the wireless element of this graphics tablet work with that? And I would say it works extremely well. If you've got a nearby place that you can just slot this out of the way of your desk, then it's very, very easy just to keep it maybe on the floor next to your desk or somewhere nearby, so that when you do need it, you pick it up, you put it on the desk, you turn it on, it connects by Bluetooth to your computer, and you're off and running straight away. And of course, we've got here on the side a little pen loop that means that the pen is always with the tablet. So when you do find that you need to use it and it's nearby, you grab it, you've got the pen, you've got the tablet all there, all ready to go, and you're not going to lose anything. So that little ink pot thing that I showed you a minute ago, I tend not to use that. I would keep that somewhere else in a drawer or something. I mean, it's nice to have the extra nibs, but I find it's much more useful to keep the pen with the tablet because the tablet's not always on my desk. So the fact that this is large hasn't really negatively impacted my use of it. I found that I've used this as much as I've used the smaller tablets, and of course the smaller tablets tend to be cabled, so you tend to have them plugged in a lot more. In terms of its precision, it's every bit as good as all the graphics tablets I've used from Wacom. I've got no complaints at all in terms of its pressure sensitivity or its accuracy. They're all extremely good. They're all extremely natural to use. The batteries last a long time. All the features have been very well thought out. They really know what they're doing with a graphics tablet. Top marks in terms of its functionality. Price-wise, you're looking at $400 RRP. I found them about $350 on the US Amazon site, around about £280 on the UK Amazon site. I would say that's a fair price, particularly if you're looking for a large graphics tablet. Overall, will I be using this myself? Well, no, probably not, because they want it back. But that's a real shame. I'm gutted that they want this back, because I've really enjoyed using this. So as far as I'm concerned, the Intuos 4 wireless tablet gets top marks from me, and just as soon as I've got some money and a good excuse, I'm going to buy one. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Photo Walkthrough is a free online video show about photography and digital photo editing using Photoshop and Lightroom. Please help support the show by using our sponsors' promo codes or by passing the promo codes on to your friends. Join the Photo Walkthrough community, find all the old shows, and subscribe to the new ones for free at photowalkthrough.com.
Photocastnetwork.com, your photography resource in the podosphere. Photocastnetwork.com